Hi, welcome to Couples Counseling with Beth Wylie. This is my first ever YouTube channel, and it's the first episode of this particular channel. So, welcome. I'm super glad you're here. I thought I would take a little time and introduce myself and tell you what you can expect to watch by subscribing to this channel. So, my name is Beth, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of Washington. I have a private practice where I focus my work on seeing couples. I have worked with couples for the last 10 years and I love it. Like I always tell people, like it's my jam. I love getting to see how two people in a room interact together, right? So like when you work with an individual, it's awesome. Gives us a really great opportunity to provide empathy and validation and support and encouragement to one person who's struggling. And it might be that they're struggling in their relationship, but it might just be that they're struggling in their life. When you have two people in the room, you get to see exactly how they interact with one another. You get to see the patterns that two people get into when they are trying to manage conflict or just even trying to have a conversation, and you can just see these little moments. You could see the reaction in someone's face. You can see the turning away from. You can see the inability to continue to listen. And that is so cool to me because when people trust me to come in and do counseling, I get to stop that. Like as it's happening, I get to say, hold on 1 second, because this is what I just heard, right? Like, can I ask you to try that again? Can you tell me how you're feeling versus how your partner's feeling? So I love it. I love, 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 love working with couples. So I thought I should share this with more people. There's a ton of information out there around how to manage conflict and how to be better partners. But I know that when I work with couples, a lot of times, and it's totally fine, they have never heard of these things. They have never heard of the fact that conflict should be connecting. Never. And how we were raised really informs how we have conflict. So I want to share that with everybody. So a little bit more, I'm going to went off into a tangent, a little bit more about myself. So I'm also just an amazing human in the world who gets to live a sober life. Almost got 2 years of sobriety, so I'm super excited about that. Grateful every day for that. So that is something I get to kind of weave into my work with couples, as well as alcohol is a huge part of society, and it's a huge part of our marriage and relationships, and also a huge contributor to explosive and often abusive conflict. I'm a mom. I have two biological children. They are almost 10 and 6 years old, and currently they are at home with me as we're in the middle of COVID-19. So my role has changed drastically. I now am attempting to kind of be their teacher, which in a million years could never take their amazing teachers' roles, but we're doing our best over here. I also have a stepson, and he's 28. He's engaged to be married, and he has been in my life since he was 13 years old. So another one of kind of the niches that I focus on is blended families. And I feel as though, at least in the Seattle area, I am definitely someone that's sought after to provide blended family, step family, however you want to call it, therapy. I've held support groups. I have been a member of a meetup group where I would go and speak with stepmoms. And I provide a really unique, understanding. Because I'm a stepmom, and like I'm also a stepdaughter, I'm a step aunt, I'm a step cousin, I'm a step sibling. I mean, you name it. My entire family. We like to call ourselves the big fat blended family, because there's like 50 some odd of us. And so I've been navigating that world longer than I've been not navigating it. That's kind of all I know. So I have a perspective of both the stepchild as well as the stepmom. So that's pretty cool. So I know a lot of people really appreciate the understanding that I have for both of those roles. I also, I'm married. I am married. I've been married for 12 years. This year will be 12 years. Um, and we have not a perfect marriage, but we have a marriage where we really respect each other. We care about each other tremendously, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughter. That's never stopped. And I have said to many people, be kind of concerned when the laughter stops. So we fight, we make up, we navigate conflict. We don't agree on a lot of things. We come from very different upbringings and backgrounds, but we take the time. We take the time to really hear each other and to get curious and to not disconnect when we're frustrated. Even though I do this all day long and I will give guidance for people over and over and over again in my sessions, I come home and I screw up. What I do that's different though, or maybe what I know that other people don't know, I'm able to see what's going on very quickly. I'm able to see what I'm doing. And then I get to make a choice. Do I want to change the way I'm behaving so that we can move on with the night and figure this out? Or do I want to hold and get in my ego and hold on to something? And I'm able to see that in a way that I think not everybody can. And that's because I'm living this all the time. We also have a dog, and Maggie is a Basset Hound mix, and she is 8 years old. We'll be adding a bunny to our family in the next couple weeks. So it's going to get a little crazy, but I think COVID-19 is just bringing the pets on because we're home and we want something to care for. I think that's what's going on. What else can I tell you about myself? I'm originally from California. I will claim that super hard, even though I live here in Seattle. Miss the sun, miss the beach, miss really good Mexican food. I love to dance. That's kind of one of my I don't necessarily go out and dance, but I am dancing throughout my house all day long. And it's a super fun thing that I have really kind of put onto my daughter. And she's finding a lot of joy in dancing as well. And there's nothing like a little 4-year-old. She's a little older now in a tutu, just nothing. I have some really cool, amazing friendships that span the entire country that I've met throughout just the different places I've lived and the experiences that I've had. And due to social media, we're able to really keep in really close contact. And I love that because they have taught me so much, and I've grown as a person and as a human from the connections and the friendships that I've made over, the last 35, 40 years, but particularly in the last probably 20 in my adult years. So that's, kind of generally about me. And we are a family of skiers. So we had a fun season this year. It was cut short because of the coronavirus, but getting to ski with both my kids at the same time with my husband, it is a joy I didn't know that we were going to have. And so it's really cool that we get to experience that. I feel really lucky. And we worked hard for it. I got to tell you, we worked really hard for that. So what are you going to learn? What are you going to learn if you come to my channel? I am going to teach you so many new skills when it comes to managing your conflict, to recognizing triggers, paying attention to attachment styles and how that's affecting your relationship. How are you showing up? So many times people come into my office and they either directly say it or I can really tell this is what they're getting at, which is there's something wrong with her or there's something wrong with him. If you could just fix that, we would be good. And over the years, I've come to find and believe and have seen it's about us. It's all about us. It's about what is being triggered for us and what like belief is being challenged, and then how are we putting that onto another person. So how are we showing up? Like what are the things that we're doing that's contributing to the negativity or the dysfunction in the relationship? What are we what would we have to give up? What's our secondary gain? If things got better and we were able to change, what would I have to give up? Because that's when change gets halted, is when I ask you to give up that secondary gain. For example, one of mine is I love to say this thing, well, I do everything. Like if my husband tries to like tell me something he's unhappy with, well, I do everything, right? That's in my back pocket. But I don't let him do anything, because, and then I say, well, I don't trust that you'll do it. Like I don't think you could get this done. You wouldn't do it the way that I would do it. You won't pay those bills on time. And I don't give it up. So I don't give him the chance. I don't give him the chance because it probably wouldn't be done the way that I would want it to be done. He might not do it in the timely fashion that I would want it done. But if I would just let that go, I also have to give up the back pocket argument. I do everything. And I see that a lot. So teaching you really to look for and find those secondary gains and get curious about why you're having a hard time letting those go. I'm also going to do, I'm sure, multiple episodes on blended families because, good Lord, there's literally not a harder role in this world than being a stepmom. I don't know what it's like to be a stepdad, so I could totally be wrong here. But of all the roles that I have played in my life, stepmom, the hardest. So we will do a lot on blended families and ways to just help let some stuff go. It'll make you as the step parent happier. Like I promise you that. Also, we will talk about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. We'll spend time talking about how to build and maintain the foundation of friendship and intimacy, how to put energy, effort, intention back into your marriage. Like you dated, you got married, and then that's it. Maybe you have some kids, and then we focus on the kids, and we have just stopped putting effort into the marriage. Many people, I'm sure a lot of you out there will say, I give my partner the worst side of myself. I give my patience to my coworkers, to anyone that I come in contact with throughout the day, then to my kids. And by the end of the night, you ask me a question, I got nothing left in the tank. We need to flip that. And not that I'm saying go be rude to your coworkers, but if it's a choice between your coworkers that you might have a frustration with your partner, I'm going to say try to be kinder to your partner. So figuring out ways to stay connected and show up as a better version of yourself, which takes some effort. It does. But it's not so much that it's just that exhausting. I just don't have the energy. You do, and you can find it. We're going to talk about tone. That is something I hear all the time. It's not what he says, it's how he says it. We're going to break that down. Because while I know some people have louder voices and we have inflections and cultural context and differences come in, we can really hear ourselves. So we need to pay attention to what's coming out of our mouth and how it's coming out. It might not match how we're feeling. This happened to me once. I was really bitchy when I answered my husband's question, and I instantly said, I'm sorry. Like, what just came out of my mouth did not match what was inside of like my heart. And we moved on. But I heard it, and I could have just ignored it because that's easier. So we'll talk about tone. And then we're also going to talk about roommate syndrome. A lot of couples experience roommate syndrome. We get married, we have kids, Our life is one big logistic planning, scheduling session. Now, planning and scheduling, I am all for, but doing it in a way where we put our energy and we put our attention into this one section of let's plan our logistics, and then let's open up all this space to connect, to be vulnerable, to have conversations, to dream together, to talk through our differences, instead of it just being who's picking up Johnny and what are we having for dinner, because that's boring. It just is. So there's a lot we're going to cover. I am hopeful that you are going to learn, that you are going to share, that you are going to find this to be informative and educational and funny, because a lot of this stuff is funny. If we can break it down and, like I said, get out of our ego, we can really see how that's contributing to both the ineffectiveness of communication and the heightened conflict. So welcome. I think I'm supposed to ask you to subscribe or like this video. And hopefully I will be doing 1 to 2 a week, particularly during this COVID time, because I think this is when we're going to need to focus on our relationships and not we're going to get really into let's just get through. And we're going to get through this and be really frustrated with our partner. So have a great night, and I will see you soon.